Hard to imagine two FBI agents ending up in the same room. How did that happen?
I sent them. Something I probably wouldn't have done or maybe gotten away with in a more organized investigation, a more organized administration. The FBI wanted to send agents into the White House itself to interview a senior official. You would work through the White House counsel, and there'd be discussions and approvals and who would be there. And I thought, it's early enough, let's just send a couple guys over.
He's laughing about using FBI agents to politically frame a great American. But that was 5 years ago. Is it over? We have a new administration. Is it better? On the contrary. I consider him to be a personal friend. Most Americans consider him to be America's mayor, an individual who stood up to 5 mafia families and took those dons down, a man who cleaned up the streets of New York and then helped the Big Apple get back on its feet after September the 11th. He's a great American, he's a patriot, and he's going to tell us what the deep state is doing now. Mayor Rudy Giuliani, welcome to the Gorka Reality Check.
Thank you, Seb. It's always a pleasure to be with you, and I consider you a personal friend and a tremendous patriot, a real contributor to what we're going through now. We need voices like yours because we're being marched towards socialism, and a censorship is being imposed upon us that's totally unprecedented.
It truly is, and they target you. I know they're not going to intimidate you. They can't intimidate the man who took down the mafia and took on Al-Qaeda. But will you share with our viewers what happened to you just a few weeks ago when the FBI that I used to respect came knocking on your door? What happened to you? Please explain
well, you can
all
imagine,
of our viewers.
For me, this was like, I worked with the FBI for 17 years. At the lowest level and the highest level. I worked with Judge Webster when he was head of the FBI on the Hinckley case. Remember Hinckley, who shot President Reagan? The FBI was an integral part of all of my mafia prosecutions. I actually asked for specific agents who were expert at being able to put wires in. So I have and just 4 years ago, I was given an award by the FBI Association as G-Man of the Year. So this has been a very, very warm, close relationship. And all of a sudden, at 6 o'clock in the morning, 2 weeks ago, roughly, there's tremendous banging, and they come in and they have a warrant, and the warrant is to search for certain all electronics for a certain period of time. And I look at it because you have to have some kind of charge, and what they say is that I failed to register as a foreign agent with regard to some Ukrainian official. Now, I have for 2 or 3 years, been plagued with allegations like this. 3 times my lawyer asked the U.S. attorney, could we come in and explain to you and show you this is not true? It's completely false. Never represented any of them. In fact, I specifically didn't represent this person. I referred him to somebody else. And I wanted to give him that information. They never, ever took up my offer. They, unbeknownst to me, back in 2019 or so, they went and took my iCloud information for 1.5 years without telling me. They're supposed to notify you at some point. They never notified me.
Mayor Giuliani, who are you working for? Who is your most famous client when they took when they searched your iCloud?
Of course, it was the President of the United States. And in fact, the beginning date that they asked for in the iCloud is roughly the beginning date that I began to represent him. In other words, they basically said, we got no interest in you before Donald Trump. But the minute you started representing him, they went and took 1.5 years of my confidential material off of the iCloud. It has to be they were searching for stuff that would hurt Donald Trump and also hurt me on some kind of theory that I'm going to help them with bad information about Donald Trump. So let me just tell them this is a waste of time. I don't have any such information. As a lawyer, I can't even talk about it. All I can tell you is I began representing him because I believed he was an innocent man who was being framed. And I turned out to be right. And I
Mr.
also
Mayor,
happened to turn around their case. And when I came in, more people wanted him impeached than not. And 4 months later, we had flipped it and we had exposed Mueller and his henchmen for exactly what they were. Now, that made them very angry because I went after the FBI, Peter Strzok, Jim Comey, who was a former colleague of mine. I hired Comey. But Comey committed perjury and has gotten away with it.
Now,
nobody's ever searched his house.
Now,
I've never committed perjury.
Mr. Mayor, Mr. Mayor, you have fought valiantly for the truth all your career. You represented President Trump superbly. But you have to mention the final detail of what happened when your home and your offices were raided. The warrant listed all electronic equipment, but there was some electronic equipment those FBI agents refused to take away from your premises. What were they, Mr. Mayor?
Well, first of all, the warrant said all electronic equipment. And during the course of the search, they presented me with electronic equipment that wasn't mine. I actually just got it back. I said, this is not my computer. This is somebody else's. And then they took my ex-wife's computer because when we exchanged property, I guess we couldn't find this. It was hidden behind something, and the FBI found it. It's not my computer, it's hers. So they took it anyway, even though I said, it's not mine. All of a sudden, there are these 2 hard drives. And they said, what are those? And I said, well, those are Hunter Biden's hard drives. Remember, the one who put out the information on Hunter Biden. I said, I guess you have to take those too. They said, oh, no. We don't want those. Now think about that for a second. That could have been Vladimir Putin on the hard drive. It could have been me making a deal with some crooked Ukrainian like they think I do. They took my word for it. So what the heck did they come and barge into my apartment if they're going to take my word for it? I can't fathom why they think I destroy evidence. I mean, I've been in law enforcement for half my life. I have a very distinguished career in law enforcement. I'm a lawyer. I'm a member of the bar. I'm not going to destroy evidence. I'm not Hillary Clinton. And they would know if I destroyed it. They have my iCloud.
Here's the key question, and we'll have to end on this. I know that they can't intimidate you. It is absolutely impossible. So what was the action against you really about, Mayor Rudy? Who were they really trying to intimidate?
Well, I think they want to, they're always trying to shake up the president. They're not going to intimidate him, but they still think they can do it. That's why they would keep leaking every week that Donald Jr. was going to be indicted. And every week I would tell them they can't possibly indict him. He did anything wrong. But that was done to destabilize him, to get him to say something, they play these mind games. They also, I think, are very worried about what's going on in Arizona. I mean, they spent 4 months blocking it. So if there was nothing wrong in Arizona, 3 months ago, they would have turned over all the paper ballots and all the machines. Why do you fight this battle to hide them? And they know that I started that. They know if something goes wrong there, they're going to have to deal with my big mouth. And they're doing the best they can to try to destroy my credibility. I would say that's it. I mean, they'd love to see me. They'd love to see me bankrupt. I mean, they'd also love to see me in jail. But since I didn't commit a crime, I think that's going to be pretty hard, I hope.
Well, as far as I'm concerned, they want to intimidate the 74 million Americans that voted for Donald Trump, but they're messing with the wrong guy. God bless you, Mr. Mayor, and the whole of the president's team.
What they're doing to our country is terrible. Terrible.
The whole team, Joe DeGeneva, Victoria Tansing, Jenna Ellis, you're going to keep on fighting, and we have your back.
Newsmax TV is now America's fastest growing cable news channel. We give you the real news you need. So subscribe to our YouTube channel and give us a thumbs up. If you like this video, share it with your friends. Newsmax TV streams live on YouTube for free. Newsmax TV, real news for real people.